Number 5. James Webb Space Telescope worth $8.8 billion. The James Webb Space Telescope is a space telescope that wanted to succeed the Hubble Space Telescope at NASA's Leader astronomy mission. The JWST will give improved infrared goal and effectability over Hubble, and will empower a wide scope of examinations over the fields of stargazing and cosmology, including watching probably the most removed occasions and articles known to man. For example, the development of the primary systems. The JWST is being created by NASA with huge commitments from the European Space Agency and the Canadian Space Agency, and is named for James E. Webb, who was the chairman of NASA from 1961 to 1968 and assumed a basic part in the Apollo program. The prime temporary worker is Northrop Grumman. Improvements started in 1996 for a dispatch that was the first made arrangements for 2007 and a $500 million spending plan, yet the undertaking has had various postponements and cost overwhelms and went through a significant overhaul in 2005. The JWST's development was finished in late 2016, after which its broad testing stage started. In March 2018, NASA further deferred the dispatch after the telescope's sunshield torn during a training deployment. The launch was postponed again in June 2018 after proposals from a free audit board. Work on joining and testing of the telescope was suspended in March 2020 because of the COVID-19 pandemic, adding further postponements. Work has continued. However, NASA reported that the dispatch date has by and by been deferred to 31st October 2021. The JWST will work close to the Earth's Sun L2 point, roughly 1,500,000 kilometers past Earth's circle. Number 4. GPS worth $12 billion. The Global Positioning System GPS, initially Navstar GPS, is a satellite-based radio navigation framework possessed by the United States government and worked by the United States Space Force. It is one of the worldwide root satellite frameworks that gives geolocation and time data to a GPS collector any place on or close to the Earth where there is an unhindered view to at least 4 GPS satellites. Deterrents, for example, mountains and structured block the moderately powerless GPS signals. The GPS venture was begun by the U.S. Division of Defense in 1973, with a primary model shuttle dispatched in 1978 and a full group of stars of 24 satellites operational in 1993. Initially restricted to use by the United States military, regular citizen use was permitted from the 1980s after a chief request from President Ronald Reagan. Advances in innovation and new requests on the current framework have now promoted endeavors to modernize the GPS and actualize the up-and-coming age of GPS Block 3A satellites and Next-Generation Operational Control System (OCX). Announcements from Vice President Al Gore and the White House in 1998 started these changes. In 2000, the U.S. Congress approved the modernization exertion GPS-3. During the 1990s, GPS quality was corrupted by the United States government in a program called Particular Availability. This was stopped in May 2000 by a law marketed by President Bill Clinton. At the point where particular accessibility was lifted in 2000, GPS has around a 5-meter exactness. Number 3. The Apollo program worth $25.4 billion. The Apollo program, otherwise called Project Apollo, was the third United States human spaceflight program completed by National Aeronautics and Space Administration (NASA), which prevailed with regards to handling the principal people of the moon from 1969 to 1972. It was first considered during Dwight D. Eisenhower's organization and a 3-man shuttle to follow the one individual Project Mercury, which put the prime Americans in space. Apollo was later committed to President John F. Kennedy's public objective for the 1960s of handling a man on the moon and returning him securely to the Earth in a location to Congress on May 25, 1961. It was the third U.S. human spaceflight program to fly. Gone before by the 2-man Project Gemini, imagined in 1961 to broaden spaceflight capacity on the side of Apollo. In 2008, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency (SELENE) test-watched proof of the radiance encompassing the Apollo 15 lunar module impact cavity while circling over the lunar surface. Starting in 2009, NASA's automated Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, while circling 50 kilometers over the moon, shot the remainders of the Apollo program left on lunar surface, and each site where manned Apollo flights landed. The entirety of the US signals left on the moon during the Apollo missions was found to even now be remaining, except for the one remaining during the Apollo 11 mission, which was passed over during that mission's leftover from the lunar surface and revisitation of the Mission Command Module in a lunar circle. How much of these banners hold their unique hues stay obscure. Advances and procedures required for Apollo were created by Project Gemini. The Apollo venture was empowered by NASA's selection of new advances in semiconductor electronic innovation, including metal oxide semiconductor field impact semiconductors, in the Interplanetary Monitoring Platform, and Silicon Coordinated Circuits contributes to Apollo's guidance computer. Number 2. International Space Station, worth $160 billion. The International Space Station is a secluded space station in a low Earth circle. It is a worldwide community venture between 5 taking an interest space offices: NASA from the United States, Roscosmos Russia, JAXA Japan, ESA Europe, and CSA Canada. The possession and utilization of the space station are built up by intergovernmental deals and agreements. The station fills in as a microgravity and space condition research lab in which logical examination is directed by astrobiology, cosmology, meteorology, material science, and other fields. The ISS is appropriate for testing the shuttle frameworks and hardware required for conceivable future long-term missions to the Moon and Mars. In July 2018, the Space Frontier Act of 2018 was proposed to stretch out activities for the ISS to 2030. This bill was collectively endorsed in the Senate, however neglected to go in the US House. The ISS has been depicted as the most costly single thing ever constructed. As of 2010, the absolute expense was US $150 billion. This incorporates NASA's spending plan of $58.7 billion. Expansion adjusted for the station from 1985 to 2015. Russia's $12 billion, Europe's $5 billion, Japan's $5 billion, Canada's $2 billion, and the expense of 36 transport trips to fabricate the station, assessed at $1.4 billion each, or $50.4 billion altogether. Expecting 200,000 men along stretches of utilization from 2000 to 2015 by 2 to 6 man groups. Every individual day would cost $7.5 million. Not exactly a large portion of the expansion balance, $19.6 million per individual of Skylab. Number 1. The Space Shuttle Program, worth $209 billion. The Space Shuttle program was the 4th human spaceflight program completed by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which achieved route transportation for the Earth to Circle Group and Load from 1981 to 2011. Its official name, Space Transportation System, was taken from 1969's Arrangement for an Arrangement of the Reusable Shuttle, of which it was the main thing financed for improvement. The absolute expense of the genuine 30-year administration life of the shuttle program through 2011 balance for expansion was $196 billion. The accurate breakdown into non-repeating and repeating costs isn't accessible. Yet, as per NASA, the normal expense to dispatch a space shuttle starting in 2011 was about $450 million for each mission. Per dispatch expenses can be estimated by partitioning the complete expense over the life of the program, counting structures, offices, preparing, compensations, and so forth, by the number of dispatches. With 135 missions and the absolute expense of US $192 billion, this gives roughly $1.5 billion for each dispatch over the life of shuttle program. A recent report found that conveying 1 kilogram of the load to the ISS of the shuttle cost $272,000 in 2017 dollars, doubled the expense of Cygnus and multiple times that of Dragon. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. So that's it for today's video. I'll be back with some more mind-blowing facts in the next video. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell icon and click notification, all for more awesome facts and stories. Thanks for watching. Bye!